AITA for telling my mom I don't want to replace my husband the way she replaced my dad. I, 30F, lost my husband 4 years ago. We share 2 children together. Our son is 9 and our daughter is 6. Since my husband's death I have focused on myself and my children, and I have no interest in dating or finding another husband. My mom has experience with this, as when my sister and I were children. 6 me and 8 her. We lost our dad and mom remarried 15 months later, and at the time she told us we were getting a new dad. Once her husband arrived in our lives there was an expectation and a pressure to call him dad, and mom took down all photos of dad. Me and my sister, took some photos of dad and hid them with our friends out of fear mom would destroy or throw them all away. She didn't, but the ones we didn't take were kept locked up in storage somewhere and have never seen the light of day. My sister asked for them on a few occasions and was told she didn't need them. Our dad's stuff is likely in there too if they weren't tossed in the garbage. It caused a lot of strain between us and mom. For the last 2 years my mom has been dropping hints that I should get back out there, and I always said I didn't want to or I would ignore it. Then a couple of months ago she told me I need to get my kids a dad before it's too late. That I need a husband. I told her they have a dad and he doesn't need to be replaced. She dropped it for another few weeks, but then last week she brought it up to me again. She told me the kids need a dad and I need a husband around or I will be alone and lonely the rest of my life. She told me I can't remain dedicated to being my husband's wife for the rest of my life. She said I'm too young and the kids are too young to never get another dad. I told her I don't want another husband and my kids don't need another dad. She asked me where I would be if she had that mindset and I didn't have a dad. I told her I lost my dad at 6 and miss him every day and I never had another one. Things escalated from there and asked me how I could say that when her husband has been my dad for 24 years. I told her he never has been and never will be, and just because she replaced my dad doesn't mean I want to replace my husband. Mom was furious and told me that wasn't fair and I should understand her better. I told her I understood her even less after losing my husband because I would never remove all traces of him from the home and I would never deny my kids his things the way she did. I would never force my kids to call someone else dad, and I told her I can't even imagine wanting to find them someone else to call dad. I told her they had an amazing dad and he's still their dad. Just the way mine will always be my dad. She called me spiteful and selfish and she went to my sister for backup, but she told her she feels the same way. My aunt, who is my mom's sister, told me I shouldn't have said what I did and accusing her of replacing my dad instead of seeing she just wanted us to be happy is cruel, and I am old enough that I should understand. AITA? NTA. I am old enough that I should understand. Surely your mother is old enough to be able to understand your point of view then. Right? Absolutely ridiculous. NTA. Off the top. I'm sorry for your loss and I hope your kids keep getting to know their dad through your and other loved ones' memories of him. I think there is some validity in your mom saying you shouldn't have to feel like you need to live as your husband's widow forever. You can treasure that love and also find new love. But your mom is majorly overstepping. Your kids don't need a father. They need role models in their lives, and you don't need to be married to that person in order for them to be a positive influence. It's clear your mom was scared to be alone, but her fear had a deep impact on you that wasn't positive, and she's old enough to understand that her choices have consequences. NTA. You don't need to repeat your mother's mistakes to validate her feelings. InTA. She didn't accept the polite, "No, I am not doing that." So she was told the not polite part. Had she accepted your choice and left it alone, you wouldn't have just said it out of the blue. NTA, because this is how you feel and that's valid. From an outsider perspective, I'm sure your mom thought what she did was good for you. She probably thought, wrong, that you were young enough to still develop a wonderful father-daughter relationship with her new husband. The lesson you learned was the exact opposite of what she intended. Now you should take some consideration into how you raise your own kids with regard to their dad. I am sure they will love to hear what a great dad he was. But make sure not to put too much pressure on them to cherish his memory exactly the way you do. Your kids were 5 and 2 when he died. Their own memories of him will be minimal to none. You can share stories about him though. That might help them feel like they knew him. They might see other dads out there doing dad things with their kids and wish they had one. Basically what I'm trying to say, your mom took an extreme approach that she thought would be good for you and it wasn't. I'd be careful not to take too extreme of an approach in the opposite direction. Let your kids have the memory of their father that is right for them. And you do what is right for you in regard to having or not having a husband, stepfather. NTA. Your mother wants praise for her actions and wants you to pretend she did it for you instead of for herself. NTA. If your mom was lonely and wanted companionship and help after she was widowed, that's understandable. Trying to erase your late father was not okay. I will never understand these parents who think that a step-parent is a replacement. People are not interchangeable like car parts. What you said probably did hurt her, but she's been pestering you in a very inappropriate way. If she remarried out of loneliness and desire for help parenting, then it makes sense why she was pushing you. But she was pushing you. You'd already said no. If you're expected to understand her, she should understand you and back the hell off. You sure do deserve to live a full and happy life the way you want to. If seeking out love is a part of that now or later, that would be fine. I hope you know that. But it's equally valid if you're not looking for that. And yes, no one could ever replace your children's father. Seeing she just wanted us to be happy is cruel, and I am old enough that I should understand. Personally, I'm old enough now that I understand a lot more of the stuff my mother did when I was a kid. Doesn't mean that I agree with it. NTA. There isn't anything wrong with finding someone else. But pretending your dad didn't exist is wrong. Pressuring you to move on is wrong. I told my mom I don't want to replace my husband the way she replaced my dad. This may have been a low blow and something cruel in a way, given mom lost my dad while we were still young, and she did remarry fast but has stayed married and found happiness again with him. It might not be fair of me to say these kinds of things to her. There is nothing wrong in her finding love. What is wrong is forcing you girls to call him dad, removing your dad's stuff, not giving you both his possessions, insisting that her new husband is your only dad, refuting your memories of your dad and butting herself in your life despite you telling her off, and insisting what she did is the only right way for you to. NTA. F your aunt. NTA. Maybe you could compromise and find the kids a new maternal grandmother. Chances are high that she would be better than their current one. My husband died, and I felt the same. I have someone now, but my son is an adult. He had one father. I see too many posts, and even in real life, of good intentions maybe that go really bad and cause more damage. Their father died. You get the choice of whether to date again or not. I did try, by the way. But the way it felt, and he with my son. Nope. Put a stop to it and never did it until son was raised. NTA. I can't believe your mom is pushing you to replace your late husband like that. It's clear you loved him a lot. And it's super important to keep his memory alive. Especially for your kiddos. Don't ever let her erase the memory of your dad. It's not selfish at all. You're handling things with so much grace. And I'm with you on this. Your late husband sounds like an amazing dad. And your mom needs to get that. NTA. My aunt, who is my mom's sister, told me I shouldn't have said what I did, and accusing her of replacing my dad instead of seeing she just wanted us to be happy is cruel, and I am old enough that I should understand. If she just wanted us to be happy, she would have listened when we told her we weren't. Your mother was not looking out for your best interests, she was looking out for hers. And maybe that's something so shameful to her that she can't even admit it to herself. But the fact that she's still dismissing you and your sister, even now that you're full-grown adults, even now that you have children of your own, gives it away. Your happiness was never her top priority, because if it was, she'd be taking you seriously when you tell her how her choices affected you. Your unhappiness makes her uncomfortable. Certainly. But she doesn't care to fix it, only to cover it up. I'm sorry. You deserved better from that generation. NTA. People deal with grief differently. Your mother did it her way. You are doing it your way. You seem to have grown up to become a decent person. But it is clear that the way your mother treated the death of your father left some trauma behind. That was never resolved. Death is hard to deal with. NTA. Totally NTA. Your mom chose a man over her own kids. She's tiring to get you to do the same. You should do what's right for you. Maybe in the future you might meet someone. But it will be on your terms. Your own timeline, and you will never force your kids to comply like you have been. And I bet that person will honor your kid's real dad in the process and not even attempt to replace him. My aunt, who is my mom's sister, told me I shouldn't have said what I did, and accusing her of replacing my dad. Except that's exactly what she did when she removed every trace of him and wouldn't even give you access to his stuff that she put in storage, assuming she actually stored it. Your mom is completely out of line. NTA. NTA. Just because your mother wanted it so did not make it so, and in her effort to erase your dad she also lost pieces of you and your sister. Tell your aunt you are old enough to even understand less why your mother could not have created an environment that included your dad's memories in addition to your stepdad. The fact that she never backed down even when told speaks to very self-centered motives. I kept my mouth shut my entire childhood about the hurt she was causing to spare her feelings. She has grown enough to hear the truth now. NTA.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.